Okay, next up.
The room.
We've got a teaser for Peanut Butter and Tears. Now, if I remember correctly, the first time I watched Peanut Butter and Tears, I think I wasn't really digging its chili. I think. I don't know if it was the song or if it was the visuals. I vaguely want to say I thought the visuals were kind of cattywampus, kind of all over the place. But again, that was me not knowing anything. I'm just coming in hot into this one video and being like, here's my opinion. Which, let's be honest, we're pretty good at that as people. Peanut Butter and Tears. This is the official teaser. So this will spark my brain a little bit at least.
The room only had 3 doors. One to the left, one to the right, and one in the middle.
Oh, I remember this.
Something felt different. Everything seemed a lot bigger.
I take all that back. I think I was totally digging this MV's chili.
And a lot more terrifying.
Yeah, forget everything I just said. I remember that. I remember pieces of that video. It does ring a bell. Man. I was probably confused. What do you expect? Oh, I remember Yellow Cab for sure. I definitely remember that one. But then, of course, I went back to it and I was like, oh, I do kind of like this. No idea what's going on half the time. So we got Peanut Butter and Tears. Now, this is also called Dear Insanity. So that might lead me to believe this is the first kind of maybe introduction we have to Dear Insanity, maybe? Dear Insanity is the album. Okay, that also makes sense. Okay. Thank you.
One to the left, one to the right, and one in the middle.
So good.
Immediately, something felt different and a lot more terrifying.
That my tooth's been wiggling for you. Like peanut butter and your teeth. Oh, I decide that I can't control all of my. It's 5 a.m. and I have to go. The wind is tearing up my eyes. Friends tell me I look so dead.
There's the key.
This is the latest dispatch.
Jeez.
One.
Okay, so we had talked about this briefly earlier, about the keys. We see this hand. This is Mido grabbing the key, correct? Trying to remember because it's been a lot. It's insanity. Okay. We talked about insanity, Mr. Insanity, excuse me, opening up doors that might be dangerous for Ian. So Mido tries to stop Mr. Insanity from opening said doors. At this point in the story, Mr. Insanity starts to take over. So in the beginning, so given the end with the multiple doors, or sorry, the multiple keys, in the very beginning, he talks about 3 doors.
One to the left, one to the right, and one in the middle.
Jeez. Okay, bro. Whoa. So the doors representing memories, and it specifically talked about trauma. Him flashing back to being a child.
Something felt
Wow.
different. And a lot more
Terrifying.
terrifying.
Jeez.
And my tooth's been wiggling for you.
Wow.
Like peanut butter in your teeth. Oh, on the sideways. I can't control all of my.
Wow. So we go through that door. We get the flashback of what I'm assuming is him as a child. So there's the trauma that's related, essentially, is what I'm assuming. And then we go into this massive meteor strike of insanity. Ian started opening doors and is slowly becoming insanity. The doors are what Ian actually sees in his lucid dreams. Each one has a repressed memory behind it, but he has no way of knowing which door is a traumatic memory. See, again, this is visual representation that he uses to make sense of all of this. So, I mean, yeah, there's a chance that maybe he, and as you said, in his lucid dreams, he sees these doors. Well, if the brain can create different persona based on the protection of the host, the brain can be pretty resilient and creative. So to create a visual image for the self to understand and cope vis-a-vis the doors, these memories, again, for me, it's just more confirmation that he is trying to make sense of all of it. The visualization of the doors. Mr. Insanity. Mido. You may have said this, and hell, I might have even read it in the initial comment, but you said the hybrid comes later. Right? Like I know we haven't seen the hybrid necessarily or any representation of it in limbo. So we haven't seen that yet. So here's a question. At this point, Peanut Butter and Tears, this was released 6 months ago. So essentially 3-ish years, 3.5 years have passed since Christian's solo debut and him releasing these pieces as he goes. So in Limbo, which we haven't hit yet, is when we first hear about the hybrid. Was there ever any earlier mention of the hybrid before Limbo? Interviews, articles, anything? He is not the hybrid. What we see in Limbo is the product of what the hybrid does to him. Okay, that's good to know. I think Christian is still trying to understand the hybrid himself. That would make sense. So it's a recent mention. The hybrid only came to be around the end of 2022 when he was under a lot of stress during tour. Okay. So here's why I asked that question. Initially, when we had the original context of the comment that explained the DID and essentially how we expect that to have happened, right? Because DID is exceptionally rare. But to see this level of the brain is trying to protect the child going through the trauma, right? So the brain separates the two identities because it would be too much to bear for one identity, essentially. In that regard, the brain has proven that it's willing to do whatever it needs to do to maintain the host, to keep the host in order, if you will. And then it's interesting that the hybrid has only been recently mentioned because first we get Christian. And then he starts to like ease us down the trail, not ease us down the trail, but we learn about Mido. We learn about Mr. Insanity. I have to wonder if his journey through all of this and his efforts to structure this in a way that he can understand and cope and manage, if him making that journey and maybe even making progress with that and how he manages it is essentially the brain was like, wait a second, we're losing control. We need help. So the hybrid became another piece of that puzzle. So it's, I don't know if it's another way of the struggle between Christian and the whole thing. The hybrid is essentially the switch and what he goes through. So some of you are saying that the hybrid is another persona. Some of you are saying the hybrid is the switch that happens potentially between Christian and Mido or Christian and Mr. Insanity. And I guess, yeah, you're right. Maybe there's also the fact that he's still trying to figure it out as he goes. And it could be a bit of both. Okay. Huh. Yeah, we're kind of learning it as he figures it out, tries to make sense out of it, and then we get what we get. Okay. That's good to know. Wow. The hybrid is an extension of what believes it to be an inherent product of all the switches after mass. So you are seeing essences of not Mido and insanity, but the gray areas that he has compartmentalized and claims it to be an abomination. Interesting. He just explained the hybrid being in between heaven and hell, limbo, and he was a bit hesitant on live just then to say that they are an altar, so we aren't sure. Okay, this is really good information. Huh. Wow. So it's okay. So now I understand. So he has ways of kind of explaining and compartmentalizing and defining Mido. He has ways of defining Mr. Insanity. But there's other little pockets of things that are happening, maybe, that don't quite fit into those two boxes. So he kind of takes that and says, "This is the hybrid." You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think it sounds like we're all trying to figure it out, including him. So, yeah, we'll see what we get. God, his visuals are extraordinary. Extraordinary. Oh, he's so good. He's so good. You know how sometimes I make comments like when we see JK without a shirt, right? And I'm like, it's great. It makes me feel terrible about myself. You know, like I can't help but make that connection. I'm watching this dude edit and direct and do all of his things, and it makes like I love my job and I am amazing at my job. This guy puts me to shame. He puts me to shame. Oh man, he's so good. Oh.